Hey everyone, grace and peace to you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Love you, miss you. Here's John chapter 10, verses 2 through 4. The one who enters the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep recognize his voice, and they come to him. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. After he has gathered his own flock, he walks ahead of them, and they follow him because they know his voice. Here you go. Take a look. There you are. Take a look at the underlined words there. Those are the ones that really pushed me into meditation here for the last, couple days or so. This idea of the voice of the shepherd. It seems that the desert back then, and indeed now in the Middle East, is still kind of a dangerous place. There can be a real lack of water, a lack of food. Back then there were bandits that were around. The shepherd carried a 4 or 5 foot staff in order to beat off animals, and maybe bandits too, and had a sling. And if you remember the story of David and Goliath, you put a rock in that sling and let her rip, right? Take care of the enemy of the sheep. And that's kind of the role of the shepherd. He said that he would lay down his life for the sheep. That's what Jesus did for us. He sacrificed his life for the sheep. And the thing was that the sheep really knew the voice of their shepherd. There was this intimate relationship, if you will. There could be hundreds of sheep around, some from different flocks. And when the shepherd would call out the name of his sheep, the little heads would pop up over the crowd. And some shepherds even had a little flute, and they would play a little tune again and again, and the sheep would just kind of work their way out of the crowd, right, and work their way to the shepherd. And I just love that imagery. And it seems now I've been hearing a lot of voices. I've been hearing a lot of voices, and the voices that I'm hearing when I watch the news, if you watch the news or you read the papers, newspapers on your app or whatever, the president's there and the vice president and the heads of agencies and governors and mayors, and I hear all these voices. And if you just have the news on for a little while, you get this overwhelming, for me it's a sense of the desert, if you will, where it's just like, man, it's kind of it can be kind of a scary place, or what have you, especially when they have that data, that figure on the right side of the screen. I saw yesterday, if you watch for more than a couple hours, you see this coronavirus data. Click, 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 and you go, oh, wow, you hear news from around the world or what have you. And the thing that has really been the challenge for me is through all those other voices is hearing the voice of the one who made me, the one who is out in front. I think it says that here, right? Is that he walks ahead of them, and they follow him because they know his voice. Is that Jesus, the author of life and death, the one who created me before who had a love for me before the world began, is out in front of me and of all of this. That's the voice that I really want to hear. And in John 17, I'll talk more about that, in the week ahead or so, but he talks about this love between the Father, the Son, and through the Holy Spirit that existed before the world began, and he invites me into it. Me. He calls his own sheep by name, and that just amazes me, is that through all the voices that are hitting me on the news and all this kind of stuff, there's this voice that says, Dan, I know you intimately, and I love you, hear me. And I think that's kind of what we're being called to, indeed, that we're being called to this, maybe a deeper walk with situations right now that you're seeing on screen, kind of life and death, and here you have the author of life and death that's calling my name and says, I've got you, right? I know what's going on, and I've got you. And I'm reminded, and I've been I've had this song in my heart, and I'll post this too. It's the song by Fernando Ortega. In the morning when I rise, in the morning when I rise, in the morning when I rise, give me Jesus. It says, when I am alone, and when I am alone, and when I am alone, give me Jesus. And sometimes I feel alone looking out my window, and I'm looking at the road, and there's nobody out there. And it says, when I come to die, and when I come to die, when I come to die, give me Jesus. He says, you can have all this world. You can have all this world. You can have all this world, but give me Jesus. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for. I pray that, and I'm praying that for you too, is that your sensitivity to the voice of the shepherd just ramps up exponentially, through all of this stuff, right? So may you hear the shepherd calling your name, right? Might that be so? In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Jesus is in control. Love you, and I miss you.